Welcome to Winging It. We're playing Arkham Horror the card game today. This is my progression series where I am playing the Dunwich Legacy with Agnes and Wendy using only cards from the Dunwich Legacy cycle and 2 cores. We've done the House Always Wins. This is the second scenario, Extracurricular Activities. If you look in the links below, you'll see a deck upgrade video where I explained the changes I made to my decks. And with that, let's drop opening hands. Agnes will get 5 cards. Okay, we definitely want the shriveling. We want a way to fight. Word of Protection is good in case we hit an Ancient Evils. We will go ahead and throw away these 3 cards because we're going to look for a clue card as well. So maybe I'll keep the Emergency Cash actually in case we get Peter. Yeah, so 2 other cards. So we get Guts, which will be some draw. That's not too bad. And a Holy Rosary. Okay, well, so we're probably going to want to get the Holy Rosary and the Shriveling down and the Emergency Cash by our opening hand, just to get set up. And since we're set up to fight, you know, we obviously would like Wendy to be able to do some cluing. All right, Wendy's hand. So we're looking for flashlight, newspaper, look what I found, things like that. Lucky Lone Wolf, look what I found. Okay, so we're not going to worry about the sneak attacks and the backstabs. Those will be for later. We'll keep the Lone Wolf because we need some economy. We'll keep the Lucky because it's just a good card. And we'll draw 2 more. Get Quick Thinking. And Manual Dexterity. Which Manual Dexterity will give her a little bit of autonomy. She's not necessarily, unfortunately, set up to clue other than to look what I found. So, we'll see. Continuing in my bad luck of not drawing allies. This is a campaign about allies, so. Let's see. Agenda 1. It's Quiet Halls. You have arrived at the Miskatonic University campus in search of Professor Warren Rice. Classes are over, and a mysterious silence hangs in the air over the quad. We hit a 7 doom threshold. Our act is After Hours. Professor Warren Rice was last seen several hours ago by one of Armitage's students in the Humanities building. We got a 6 doom, or 6 clue target there. Oh, and they're actually in the Miskatonic quad. Look at that. It's a 3 shroud, 0 clue location. It has a action to resign. We can't find Rice anywhere. Leave the campus, hoping Armitage will forgive you. Okay. So Agnes will do exactly what I said. She's going to spend an Emergency Cash to get 3 resources. Then we will spend 2 for a Holy Rosary and 3 for Shriveling. Now we just really need to find like a Rite of Seeking or something. Okay, Wendy, her first action, will spend a resource. And we will put down Lone Wolf. That'll get her some resources. The second action, she will move into the Orin Library. This is a 3 shroud, 2 clue location. You must spend 1 additional action to investigate the Orin Library. It's a victory point 1. So we want the victory point. That's why I went here first. It's going to be tough. She's at 3v3. She can look what I found, but she's got to fail by 2 or less. We want to make sure, and she can't do it this turn because she only has 1 action left. So we're probably going to draw a card hoping to get some intellect stuff going. But we'd like to look what I found and get both of those clues in 1 shot. Okay, so now she is going to draw a card. And she gets another look what I found. Okay, so as long as she can afford all this stuff, she'll be okay. I think to get some clues. She can lucky into look what I found as well. Alright, so now we're looking at Upkeep. Agnes draws Heirloom of Arborea, which we are unlikely to play. She gets a resource. Yeah, it would be overriding the Holy Rosary. Okay, and then we get a Cat Burglar for Wendy, which could give her even more of an ability of being able to kind of go out on her own. Okay, we're at 1 of 7 doom. We get encounters. She gets pushed into the Beyond. Choose and stuff a non-story asset you control into your deck and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If a copy of that asset is discarded, take 2 horror. So we could cancel this with Ward of Protection to save our Holy Rosary, but we're not going to because we want to save that for Ancient Evils. So we shuffle the Holy Rosary back into our deck. Card feels so bad because it's just very little counterplay. We discard the top 3 cards of our deck and hope that we don't discard the Holy Rosary. We don't want to take horror. That was our horror soak. Okay. Delve too deep. Oh, that feels bad. Ancient Arcane Studies and Drawn to the Flame. Okay. But no horror, at least. Goodness. That's a VP just down the drain. Okay, here is Wendy will get Offer of Power. You must either draw 2 cards and place 2 doom on the current agenda, or take 2 horror. Well, she'll take 2 horror. Which makes me want to get out Cat Burglar even more. So the problem with playing the Cat Burglar right away is that we may need to use both Lucky and Look What I Found and not have enough resources to play him. So, Wendy will go ahead and go first. She is going to get a resource from Lone Wolf. And then she's just going to investigate at even with a plan to play Lucky and Look What I Found. So it takes her 2 actions to investigate. A skull is -1. If you fail, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Well, it's okay. So, we will discard the top 3 cards of our deck, which is Emergency Cash, Amnesia, okay, excellent, and another Cat Burglar. So, all things being equal, that was pretty beneficial. Okay, then we'll spend 2 resources to play Look What I Found. Get the 2 clues. And for her last action, she will go ahead and spend 4 to put Cat Burglar into play, and then she will have some soak. And it will increase her agility. Alright, Agnes, I think, is just going to draw for some clue solutions. She's got name management. She'll draw a Holy Rosary. I think we'll draw 1 more card and then plan on playing the Holy Rosary. Draw another card. We get a Forbidden Knowledge. I think we go ahead and play the Forbidden Knowledge so that we have, some easy whippoorwill management. So we'll go ahead and take an action to play that. It's got the 4 on it. Remember last time when I just played it? Never used it? Let's see if I do that again. Alright, so we have 2 of our 6 clues. Let's see how we're going to do. Still don't have just a ton of clue getting tech. It's time for Upkeep. And Agnes will get Emergency Cash. And a resource. And Wendy will get Manual Dexterity. And a resource. Okay. We are at 2 doom. Okay. And we get our Ancient Evils. So Agnes will spend 1 resource and play Ward of Protection to cancel that. And that feels good. Oh, she takes Horror. Too bad there's not a Whippoorwill around to damage. And Wendy will get the Whippoorwill. Okay, so the Whippoorwill is a 2/1/4. It's aloof. It's Hunter. Aloof means that it doesn't engage investigation and you can't attack it while it's not engaged with an investigator. So each investigator at Whippoorwill's location gains -1 to all their stats. So it's hanging out here with Wendy. So I can let it hunt with Agnes, and Agnes can just ping it. So I'm going to let Wendy go first. She gets her resource from Lone Wolf. And she'll move into Humanities Building, which is a 3-shroud, 4-clue location. For at the end of your turn, if you're in the Humanities Building, discard the top X cards of your deck, where X is the amount of horror on you, which is 2. So she's going to be milling her deck pretty fast here, unfortunately. But if we get all these clues, then we can advance the act, which would be good. Okay, so her first act was to move. Second act, we will investigate. Plan is to lucky into look what I found. Oh, actually, we need resources to do that. We will actually take a resource to be at 3. And then for our last action, we'll investigate. I wish she was just like 1 up. I would feel better about this. Okay, she is -3. We will pitch a manual dexterity because we don't need 2 to redraw. Because we'd like to just fail by 2 and not have to lucky. So, pitch that manual dexterity. At -1, we can spend 2 and play Look What I Found. And get 2 clues from here, and then she has to discard the top 2 cards of her deck, which will be a Backstab and a Sneak Attack. So these are the fighting cards. I guess I didn't shuffle them that good. I think those are the 2 from earlier. Okay, so we want to get her amulet out, so she'll be able to fight those when we have kind of the boss at the end. But I think we're going to largely have to ignore the rest of the clues in the Humanities Building. We can get other ones elsewhere, but Agnes still needs to find clue getting tech. So she's going to spend 2. Actually, she's going to draw a card first, I think. Draw a card. She gets Guts. It's not helpful. She'll draw another card. Fearless. Okay, and then we want to get the Holy Rosary down, so we'll spend 2 resources to play Holy Rosary. Okay, the Whippoorwill hunts. There's a trigger window in which we can exhaust Forbidden Knowledge and take a resource, take a horror, and deal a damage to the Whippoorwill. It's dead. That's using Agnes's ability. And now we are in Upkeep. Okay. Agnes is another shriveling. And Wendy get Perception. She should get 1 more clue from the Humanities Building before she leaves then. And a resource. Alright, we're at 3 of 7 doom. Counters. Agnes will get another Whippoorwill. She knows how to deal with those. And Wendy will get Locked Door. to revelation, attach the location with the most clues and a locked door without a locked door attached. The attached location cannot be investigated. Action. Test will fight, which Wendy cannot do. 4, to break down the door, or 4, agility, which she can do to pick the locks. If you succeed, discard locked doors. So we could just let the locked door live there. You can't get clues from there, but I kind of feel like, let's see, I could pick the locked door, use perception, and then leave. And I think that makes the most sense. So we're going to go ahead and pick the locked door with manual dexterity. That gets her to a 5 from cat roller, 6, 7 to beat 4. So she's up by quite a bit. This will give her a card draw. Maybe she'll get, draw into some more clue tech. Okay, that's 0. So she got rid of the locked door. And she'll draw a card, which is a backstab. I'm going to investigate now. I'm going to commit quick thinking and perception. That if I manage to get like another clue kind of card and I succeed by 2, then I could... Oh, she didn't get her lone wolf resource. Let me take the extra action. Maybe I'll be able to get another clue. I don't know. Get both clues before we leave. But we do want to leave. I don't want to keep milling my deck here. Alright, so... +1. Okay, well she does get her extra action, and she does get the clue. So she got a clue. And we get to draw a card. She's got 2 more actions left. We'll get an elusive. Okay, I think we'll just commit the elusive to be 1 up on the investigate. Beats a lot of the bag, and we can lucky if we need to, and then we have enough clues to advance. So that's pretty good. Okay, we get the auto fail. We will pitch the backstab to redraw. -2. We will spend 1 to be lucky. We're out of cards now. But she gets the clue, and we have enough to advance. We're not going to advance. We're going to leave the humanities building. Go to the Miskatonic Quad. Alright. Now I do think we can spend our to advance. So spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You were unable to find Professor Rice, but one of the students you spoke with mentioned a strange man entering Rice's office. Unfortunately, the door leading to the faculty office is locked at this late hour. The student says that the head janitor, Jazz, might be able to help you if you can find him. Shuffle the encounter deck discard pile and set aside Jazz Mulligan into the encounter deck. So we'll do that. The infamous Jazz Mulligan. Alright, and we'll look at the new act, which is Act 2A, Rice's whereabouts. Concerned for Professor Rice's safety, you seek out the head janitor, who can let you into the locked section of the campus. Action, spend 1 clue, discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck, top 10 instead if there is 1 player in the game. If you discard Jazz Mulligan for any reason, resolve his revelation effect. Objective, when you take control of Jazz Mulligan, advance. So we gotta get clues in order to find him. Or we can just get lucky with discarding off the deck. Alright, so that is Wendy's turn. Now it is down to Agnes, who will exhaust Forbidden Knowledge, and we'll take a resource, and take a horror, and ping the Whippoorwill. Who's gone. We'll go ahead and get this other shriveling into play. So now we're really set up. Well, actually, do we want to do that? If we get a Rite of Seeking, actually, we don't have enough slots. So we won't do that. I guess we'll just draw. As we keep doing. So we'll draw a card. Alright, this is Peter Sylvester. It's the upgraded one. We'll give her a willpower boost and extra horror healing. So that's good. Okay, we'll spend 3 to put Peter into play. So now she's got an ally. She can soak some horror. And then draw another card. Okay, internal injury. Put internal injury into play in your threat area. At the end of your turn, take 1 direct damage, and then you can take 2 actions to discard internal injury. So this is the end of her turn. She takes a direct damage. All right, it is time for Upkeep. Oh wow! Agnes gets Dark Memory. Place 1 doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Force, if Dark Memory is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and take 2 horror. Oh, that's unfortunate. We're probably just going to have to clear it right away. Which means losing an action. So we're just losing the, oh, we should have put a doom. Oh wait, that's actually not, we haven't done encounters. Felt like an encounter, but actually that's just her. That's just her card. Okay. Okay, and then Wendy gets a sneak attack. And a resource. Okay, so now we're at 4 doom. 4, 7 doom. And we'll draw. And we'll get a thrall. He's spawns the location with the most clues. Or she, I guess it's. Yeah, it's a woman. It's a 2/2/2. And it has retaliates. We're actually going to... We put it in the Humanities building because there are no clues in the Humanities building. Alright, and then Wendy gets... pushed into the Beyond. Okay, well, we'll take our Lone Wolf and shuffle that in. And mill our deck even more. We kind of really want her... we really want her amulet. Because we got all these like attack options and stuff in our discard pile. Although we got Lucy sitting on top of it, so I don't know. We'll just have to see. But we are coming up on Abandoned Alone, which we just get rid of all of those things. Alright, so we're discarding top 3, and if we get a Lone Wolf, we take 2 horror. So we get double or nothing. Oof. Emergency cash, that's okay. And a flashlight, so our clue tech. Alright. Okay, what do we do now? Well, Agnes is taking the very straightforward turn of spending 2. Play Dark Memory. Puts a doom on the agenda. And then clearing internal injury because we just don't want to keep taking damage. Wendy does not have clue tech, so I think she's going to discard. Draw. We're probably going to get Abandoned Alone, and it's going to lose most of her fight stuff, but let's see what we can do. She draws a card. She gets Abandoned Alone. Her entire discard pile is removed, and she takes 2 direct horror. Pretty gross. Okay. Okay, second action. She's going to draw a newspaper. Third action, she'll spend 2 resources to put newspaper into play. So this will actually be really good. Because you can just get a clue and then spend a clue. So, yeah. To search for jazz. Alright, so, not an amazing turn, but we'll draw for Upkeep. Agnes will get another Holy Rosary, which we can't play, but we can commit for a Willpower icon. And a resource. And Wendy. Double or nothing. And a resource. Alright, we are now at 6 of 7 Doom. We're going to be advancing very shortly. And we're going to get an Arcane Barrier. Revelation attached to your location. As an additional cost to move into or out of attached location, test 4 willpower. If successful, discard Arcane Barrier. Otherwise, you must either cancel the effects of the move or discard the top 5 cards of your deck. So that is here. That's definitely something that Agnes can handle, though. And Wendy will get Light of a Forgamon. Peril. Revelation. You must attach Light of a Forgamon to either the current agenda or the current act. Limit 1 per agenda act. Treat all damage as direct damage and all horror as direct horror. So that means that Agnes will not be able to use Peter. We're going to, this is a peril, so we have to decide. We wouldn't be able to discuss among our group like what to do here, because we get to decide whether to attach it to the agenda or the act. We are going to be advancing the agenda next, and this will go away when we do that, so we want to attach it to the agenda. Okay, so Agnes is going to move out of the, she's going to move into the science building. Basically, at this point, I don't think we're going to be getting, well, can we do, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get Jazz. I think just the point is, right now we just set up to fight the experiment if we can. Alright, so she will move out and she'll have to test the Arcane Barrier. And she will test with using Fearless, and I guess, let's see, that puts her to 6, 5, 6, 7 is probably good. 7 to beat 4, up by 3. Beats just about everything. And Fearless will heal a horror if she's successful. Okay, that's 0. So the Arcane Barrier is gone. And she heals horror. So now we just get set up to wail on the experiment. We will, I guess, draw a card and then play Shriveling. Oh, we should look at the science building. The science building is a 2 shroud, 2 clue. After the science building is revealed, put the set-aside alchemy labs into play. Force when you fail a willpower test in the science building, take 1 damage. There are 2 clues there. And we'll put the alchemy labs into play. The door leads the alchemy labs is locked. You cannot move into the alchemy labs. Alright, she's got 2 more actions left. I think we will draw a card and then play Shriveling. So draw a card, which is Drawn to the Flame. So she could get the 2 clues, but I kind of want her to be set up. And Wendy actually can get clues pretty easily. We'll spend 3 and put out the other Shriveling. Now the real question is, even if we get Jazz, we have to beat an intellect test. She can do it. Yeah, I think it's worth it. So Wendy, action 1, moves in. Action 2, investigates. She's at 5v2 because of the newspaper. Okay, that is -1. There are no cards in her discard pile, so it's still 1. And so she gets the clue, and then she takes an action to spin the clue, which bumped her intellect right back up. And we'll look through the top, or discard the top 5 cards Get 1, 2, 3, 4. No ancient evils. 5. Okay. No jazz. Alright. And that is her turn. It's time for upkeep. We'll draw a flashlight for Agnes, which means she actually could, if she had the actions, get a clue there. And Wendy will get a lucky. And she gets a resource. And now Light of Forgamon goes away because we are advancing. The university is dead silent. The shadows coil about your feet as you walk, and you swear there's something following you with each step that you take. Is it just your imagination, or is there really someone or something stalking you? Each investigator with 5 or more cards in his or her discard pile takes 1 horror, and if you have 10 or more, you take 2 horror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Agnes takes 1 horror, which she will put on Peter Sylvester. Not a big deal. If the players have completed the house always wins, advance directly to Agenda 2B, which we have. If the extracurricular activity is the first scenario, advance to Agenda 2A. So 2B, we just skip right over 2A. A cry of fear echoes through the campus, and several students flee from the eastern side of the university where the science building can be found. Could the commotion be linked to Professor Weiss's disappearance? If the dormitories is not in play, put it into play. So we'll do that. Down here. If the experiment is in play, move it 1 location toward the dormitories. It's not. If the experiment is not in play, spawn it at the science building. So let's take a look at the experiment. It is a 4/7/2, but not actually 7 because the experiment gets +6 health into investigators. So it's actually a 13 health. It's massive. It's worth 2 victory points. And when the experiment enemy phase begins, ready the experiment. So it's going to whack everybody at its location no matter what. If the experiment is defeated, advance to 3B. Alright, we're on to our last agenda. The Beast Unleashed. Some kind of wild creature is on the loose. Whatever it is, it appears to be headed toward the university dormitories. When this agenda would advance by reaching its doom threshold, instead remove all doom in play and move the experiment 1 location toward the dormitories. Objective. If the experiment enters the dormitories, advance. Okay, so. Alright, now it's time for encounters. Agnes will get Offer of Power. You must either draw 2 cards and place 2 doom on the current agenda. We're not going to do that, or we take 2 horror. So we'll take 2 horror. It's not direct horror. You put 1 horror on Peter and put 1 on herself, which can put a damage on the experiment. So that's kind of okay. Well, you got to do 12 more damage. Okay, and then Wendy gets a Thrall, which spawned at the location with the most clues. It is spawned here. We can decide who it engages with. So we'll engage with Agnes. I think Wendy is going to go first. She's going to evade the experiment. She's at 5v2, which is pretty okay. That is a 0. He has evaded. Do we keep looking for Jazz? I mean, he could get us more victory points. He can also get us into the alchemy labs, which makes things a lot better. Or we can just stay here and kill the experiment, which we could do. I think we'll just look for Jazz once more. So we'll investigate up by 3. Go to the newspaper. Okay, it's -1. And we get a clue, and then we will spin that clue to look through the top 5 cards for Jazz. It's for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, no Jazz. I think that ship has sailed at this point. Alright, so that is the end of Wendy's turn. Okay. Sorry. So Agnes is going to use Shriveling against the Thrall. So she is at 5, 6, 7 against the Thrall. -2. So the Thrall is dead. For a second. Second action, she will Shrivel against the Experiment. The Experiment is a 4. And I think we will commit... Wendy will commit double or nothing, which will make this do 4 damage if it lands. And so she is right now at 5, 6, 7 to beat 8. Or no. She's at 8 because it's double to 8 for but she's at 5, 6, 7, 8. She's at 8 to be 8. We will commit a Guts and the Heirloom of Viperborea. She's up by 4. And this will do 4 damage. -2. Alright. So that is 4 damage. So he's at 5 of the 13 damage we need to do to him. Let me draw a card from the Guts. Which is a Fire Axe. Not very useful right now. And then we will do our last action. We'll do another Shriveling. We're at 5, 6, 7 to beat 4. It's -3. We were at 7, so he takes 2 more damage. And then we will use Forbidden Knowledge to take a resource and take a Horror, doing 1 more damage to Experiment. So he's now at 8 of 13. We are fairly on our way here. So he does, at the beginning of the enemy phase, he's going to Ready. And then he does 2 damage to Horror to everybody. Oh, at the end of her turn, Peter healed a Horror. So Peter will take a Horror. Agnes will take a Horror. And she can again use that to do 1 more damage to the Experiment. This should be exhausted. And then Wendy will put a damage and a Horror on the Cat Burglar. And then she will take a Horror and a damage. Alright. Experiment is now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Yeah, so we should be able to finish it off here. Alright, let's do Upkeep. Sadly, not many victory points, but at least we're killing the boss. Alright, we got a Peter. It's nice. We can commit for Willpower Icon. And a resource. And another newspaper for Wendy. We could pump her intellect all the way up to a really high number. Alright, we are at 1 or 2 doom. And we get an Ancient Evils. Okay. Slightly annoying, actually. So we move the experiment towards the students. It's going to cost us an action. And we get a Yithian Observer. That's a victory point. He is a 4/4/3. When the Yithian Observer attacks you, discard 1 card at random from your hand. If you cannot, Yithian Observer deals +1 damage and horror for this attack. And that's on Wendy. Agnes could just attack Yithian Observer and then just stay here 1 turn. So I think Wendy goes first. She'll use the action on the Cat Burglar to just move and leave the Yithian Observer away, and it goes on to Agnes, which is fine. Then Wendy will evade the experiment for a second action. She's at 5v2. It's -3. So she's at 5v2, it's evaded. And then she'll move into Student Union, which is forced. After Student Union is revealed, put the Suicide Dormitory into play, and then it has 2 actions to heal 1 damage, 1 horror. And it is a Shroud one with 2 clues. So Wendy can actually investigate this just fine if she wanted to keep looking for Jazz. Which, you know, there's actually a reason to maybe do that, I guess. Okay, so that was her 3rd action. Now, Agnes is just going to sit here and wail on this Yithian Observer. So she will use a charge of Shriveling. She's at 5, 6, 7 to beat 4, which is fine. +1. That's 2 damage to it. We just don't want to run out of Shriveling charges. I guess we can switch to the Fire Axe, but I want to be able to kill the experiment. Here we go. -4, we fail. Ouch. Okay, we'll use our last Shriveling charge. Let's make sure that we're successful. We can commit Peter Sylvester up by 4. We don't want to waste any more charges because we need those charges to do the damage to the Yithian Observer, or to the experiment. Okay, -3 into the victory display. Feels good to get that victory point. Okay, this is not exhausted. That was her whole turn. Okay, the experiment readies. Get some cards. And she heals a horror off Peter. And Agnes will get a Ray of Seeking. How about that? And a resource. And Wendy will get her Amulet. And a resource. Okay. And then put a Doom on the agenda. If we get an Ancient Evils, I'll just move on to Wendy, and we probably can kill it. Oh, there's Jazz. Okay. So Jazz is into play at your location. So it goes into Agnes' location, which is not where we want it to be. Agnes can't beat that intellect test, I don't think. Parlay test. But anyway, if you're successful, and then while you control Jazz Mulligan, you ignore the text on each unrevealed Miskatonic location, which would allow them to go into these locations and get victory points. But if Wendy had stayed, she might be able to do that. But she didn't. Alright, now it's Wendy's turn. She'll get a locked door. So this just goes here. She's at. And I think we just go in and kill the experiment now. let's see, he's at, we have to do 4 damage to him. So that's probably pretty doable. So Agnes will move in for action 1. Action 2, she will use a shriveling. And she'll commit a guts. So we're at 9d4. That's -1. That's 2 damage. Taking another shot with shriveling, our last shriveling charge. Okay, that is a skull, which is -1 if you fail. We did not fail. We do have to take a horror, which we'll take, which puts another damage on him. And then we do 2 more. But I think that's actually, he's dead at this point. Right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yep, that's dead. Dead experiment. And where's Victory 2? Defeated, we advance to Act 3B, which we will do. So we jump all the way ahead to 3B. The monstrous creature lets out a terrible shriek as it succumbs to its wounds and collapses onto the ground. A foul odor emanates from the corpse as its flesh begins to bubble and froth. Your relief turns to disgust as the body begins to shrink and disintegrate. Minutes later, the body is almost entirely evaporated into a sticky mess, and the awful odor has vanished. Inside the remnants of the creature's body, all you can find is a set of bones, the skeletal structure of a canine. Okay, so we got R2. And for victory points, not much, but enough. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's good enough. We could get another Leo and a Will to Survive for Wendy. Seems good. And yeah, I'm not. I would have liked to have gotten the VP off the student union, but dormitories. But 4 VP and 2-handed is something that I can definitely live with. So anyway, and not dying is good. So Wendy and Agnes drawing lots of cards, but doing okay, and amazingly no Beyond the Veils. So happy about that. No deaths to Beyond the Veil. I will see you next time on Winging It.